Washington County Commissioners Court is now in session, Tuesday, June 20th, 2023 at 9 a.m. Commissioner Hanneth, would you do the honors, please?
We have Dr. Craig Dose, correct? It's Dose, right? And he's going to do our invocation, and after that, we'll have the pledges to our flag.
All right. I don't know if you're like me, but every time I watch the news, your soul gets a little troubled by the divisions in our country and some of the forces that are pushing us toward things that I don't think we want to be a part of. I heard of a survey last week where 51% of young people in America from the ages of 19 to 31 embraced the idea of socialism. So that always troubles me. I think that we did not found this country on socialism, and it was not successful on that. In fact, I think it's slavery. But anyway, one of the bastions against that kind of thinking is a place like this. Is a place like this where the people are represented, and good things happen. It's good to be in Washington County. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Lord God, we raise up to you our country, first of all. It was founded on principles by our forefathers that they weren't perfect by any means, but they did have the idea that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. And people still flood to this country because they want the opportunities that it offers. Do not let that be taken away from us, and may we stand against such things. But on the local level, Lord, we ask you to come with your Holy Spirit and lead us and guide us in doing the things that are good for the people of this community. And we want to thank those who serve, because it is a sacrifice that people give when they serve in places like this. And we thank you for all of the efforts that they give and the energy that they give toward taking care of the rest of us. Lord, hear our prayers and all those of our hearts. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Item number 3, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of a proclamation proclaiming June 2023 as Salvation Army Month in Washington County. A proclamation. Whereas the Salvation Army is usually among the first to arrive with help after natural or man-made disasters, and whereas they are known for its network of thrift stores or charity shops which raise money for the rehabilitation programs to alleviate suffering and help people rebuild their lives. And whereas we are eternally grateful for the decades of support through natural disasters, and especially the historic 100-year flood of 2016 and the winter storm of 2021. Whereas the partnership with the county through and with Faith Mission exemplifies the excellence through effective and efficient service delivery. And whereas we acknowledge the Salvation Army as our county's leading disaster agency, and be it resolved that the Commissioners Court of Washington County does hereby proclaim June 2023 as Salvation Army Month in Washington County.
I make a motion to approve proclamation proclaiming June 2023 as Salvation Army Month in Washington County.
I second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Reverend Wells, would you like to come forward, please?
Good morning, Commissioners Court and Judge. Thank y'all so much for the wonderful honor I have Sister Tanisha Pinckney here. She is our service unit supervisor from Bryan College Station, and she wears many hats. She just got that title, plus she also runs all of the services there. So she's the reason why we're here today. Anything you want to share quickly with the court?
No, thank you. We appreciate it, and that's what he said.
Okay.
Well, thank y'all so much for what you do for the county.
Yes, okay.
We need y'all prayers. no hurricanes in 2023.
We don't need any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
As-
for what y'all do. I really do
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yes, sir. You know, the good thing is we're not in control of that.
There you go.
That's exactly right. Well, thanks again
Thank you
for
so
all you do.
much.
Salvation has been
Yes, sir.
a real blessing to this county and for all of us, so thanks for what you do. She has some other folks?
I think they want to.
Yeah, you got some other folks there. There we go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
She even want to be in a picture? Be in a picture.
Respectfully.
Okay, item number 4, discussion and presentation from Metro Aviation Regional Maintenance Manager, Mr. Chris Finn, regarding one-year base progress and partnership. Mr. Dramus?
Judge, just real quick, June 15th was a year. So about a month ago, Chris Finn sent me a message. I called your office, and he said, you know that meeting that you wear the tie to about once every Tuesday? I was like, yeah. He said, I'd like to go to that. I didn't tell him that when the heat index gets above 100, I don't wear a tie to that anymore. But he wanted to come and just kind of tell you kind of the base progress. You guys know there was 3 big things we wanted to do when we transitioned. One of those big 3 was maintenance and how we were doing maintenance-wise. So we looked at different programs. Commissioner Hanneth, you were with me on some of those visits. We were told Metro would sustain a 98% in-service time. We were also told a lot of things from different things, but the truth is they have done that. For 12 months consecutively, we've been above 98% in service time. He's ultimately the guy responsible for that. I brought in Holly Weber a month ago, talked to y'all about the financial end. This is the maintenance end, so he has no answers to any other questions other than that. So I'm kind of helping him out right quick because I know how some of those questions can be. But I'm going to let him talk for just a minute. He brought you guys some goodies as well. So.
Well, good morning, everyone, Judge, Commissioners. Again, I am a mechanic, so this is not my wheelhouse. I do have the gift of gab a little bit, but I brought you guys some little swag bags from Metro. A year ago, a little bit before that, I was sitting in my office and Washington County came across my desk. I was told a few things, and I was informed of what I call the program director, which is Mr. Duramis. And one of my favorite things in dealing with a customer is building the relationship that makes my job easy. So if I can lock in the ultimate communication with the customer, my favorite thing in life to do is basically serve. Service before self. I was in the Air Force when I was a kid. The only civilian aviation job I've ever had was with Metro Aviation. I roll my 20th year in September. So I sat with Kevin when we first moved, or when we first came out here in April. He had his concerns. I locked into everything that he was worried about. He is a man that loves his community and does nothing but serve his community. The amount of leadership that actually he is capable of, I not only learned from secretively, I would never tell him that, and but I also adapted to how he treats his people and his expectation of himself out of his individuals. It's very, very similar to mine and the mechanics that are under my care. I was a lead mechanic for a specific program. I had 42 technicians. Now I'm a regional manager, so I have Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. But if I expect myself out of them, and I expect the service that I provide, looking at everything that goes into the ins and outs of aircraft operations, because my only care is the crew, the pilots, and the aircraft. If all of that locks in, the rest of the community benefits because the aircraft is doing what it's supposed to do, because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Small token of gratitude, and actually Mr. Kevin didn't find out, although I do live in Lafayette, Louisiana, and I have a Cajun heart. I was born and raised 18 years and lived in Texas, so this is exactly where I'm from. He didn't know that till 2 days ago. But I just want to say thank you for everything you've done, Judge, with the fuel tank, the fuel farm. I know it came across last year. It not only takes his readiness from, he has his own fuel at the base. If he ever has to dispatch somewhere remotely, he can drag his own fuel with him, and he doesn't have to worry about anybody else. It passes our fuel quality control, everything that Metro does in regards to putting perfect fuel in that aircraft. He can take with him. He can operate wherever he needs to. We have our technicians. The facility is amazing. I've set up places in Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, set up last year when you came and did a walkthrough with, in Washington County. One of my favorite bases, and I just appreciate the entire community and everything you guys put into it to make that so, because the only way to keep a safe and maintained aircraft is to focus and just serve the community. So I appreciate everybody. Small little token of Metro goodies. So if you guys have any questions, again, I'm a mechanic and a maintainer. So my overall goal is to make sure that your aircraft not only isn't grounded, but the scheduling of everything it needs to do downrange, projected 3 months, 6 months, 9 months out, to make sure there's a spare aircraft here, whether we have to move it from Indiana, Montana, wherever we have to get it from. I try to get it here 3 days because of the heat. Yeah, computers don't like heat. And the helicopter has, 25 computers in it. So we try to get the spare aircraft here, let it get acclimated, let the pilots fly it, and if they have a whoopsie or a discrepancy, they write it up before we take your primary aircraft out of service. So when they swap radios or swap gear, they go into the spare aircraft, and you guys shouldn't miss a lick or a beat, maybe 1 hour of out of service time compared to, what you guys might have seen before. So I'm super excited, super proud to be part of Washington County, to be in charge of the entity, and I just thank everybody here. I appreciate you.
Well, Mr. Finn, let me expand upon this just a little bit.
Sure.
When Mr. Dramus first came to us and expounded upon the virtues of Metro, he felt very comfortable with the culture, Metro, the expertise, and what you could provide. But all of us in this room have heard things like that
Sure.
in the past. And I'm a doubter. And so when I did visit your facility and had the tour and met Mike, it kind of removed most of those doubts, to be honest with you. But then in the past 12 months, you've removed all the doubts. The performance is incredible. When I found out how many dollars worth of repair parts, all the parts y'all were going to have on site, that just kind of blew me away. Over $1 million worth of parts sitting out there, just anticipating what could happen. So we don't
Absolutely.
have that downtime.
Absolutely.
That was an amazing fact for me, and the level of expertise, your mechanics, pilots, everyone has exhibited has been just phenomenal. I want to tell you,
Appreciate it.
thank you for what you've done to add to that and make this happen for us. Thank
Not
you
a
so
problem,
much.
sir.
Thank you for being
I
here today.
appreciate you. Thank you, Judge.
I just would like to say that I think that one of the biggest things that we fail to realize from time to time are the relationships we have and build with others within our community and others that we do business with.
Absolutely.
We had a difficult relationship in the past, and this relationship has been nothing but wonderful. I cannot say enough about Metro Aviation and what you guys have done for us. It has been phenomenal. It has been a partnership that we would have never dreamed would have happened.
Absolutely.
It's what we wanted, but sometimes what you want and what you get are two different things.
Absolutely, I
With
understand.
Metro, what you want is what you get. And you guys have been an awesome partner because our work ethic and our philosophies that we carry so dear in this community,
Mhm.
our mission, is the same as your mission.
Absolutely.
And patient first is what comes to mind every time I think of Metro, and that's our philosophy as well.
Absolutely.
So when you mirror those two, it is just unbelievable the work that can be done
Sure.
and the work that has been done within this year.
Excellent.
I applaud Metro for doing that because we did not expect this level of service. So thank you so much
Not a
for
problem.
what you've done.
Excellent, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for what you're doing out there.
Sure.
I can relate to mechanical stuff, and I'm just proud of having you here in this county with us. It's a
Absolutely.
night and day difference from what it was.
Good, I'm glad to hear that, I'm glad to hear it. And so for everybody in the room, when we first kicked off and took over, I would have, every 2 days, I would check in with Kevin to see, and then it turned into a once a week then it turned into a bi-weekly check-in, then it turned into a monthly check-in. Now I just call him because I miss him.
All right.
All right, I appreciate it, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We gotta get him back in the farm, get him working.
Appreciate you guys.
Item number 5, discuss and possibly act upon the purchase of holding pens for Barn 3 at the Washington County Expo using hotel occupancy tax funds.
Good morning, Judge and
Good morning.
Commissioners. So we got a
Williams.
couple hot fund purchases under there. I'll remind y'all, I forgot to put it under there. It's 351 of local government code that allows us to do these types of purchases. We are a multi-venue complex, so we fall under a whole host of different sections within that particular policy. This one falls underneath the sporting section, if you really want to get technical, under equestrian sports. Allows us to expand our capacity, which brings more heads and beds to our community. So this is replacing the holding pins in the back of Barn 3 and actually allowing us to hold a little bit more livestock back there to make things more convenient.
Okay. While you're up, you want to discuss number 6 as well?
Sure. So number 6 is for the scale. Those are from a local vendor here in town. So that is to replace our outdated scale, and that allows us to create an additional rentable asset to provide to clients. So it helps us retain some of our shows that the longer they're here, the bigger they're getting, and the more desperately we need another hotel or some additional lodging here in town.
Pleasant problem.
It's a good problem.
Okay. Okay, let me read item number 6 now. Discuss and possibly act upon the purchase of a scale set needed for the Washington County Expo using hotel occupancy tax funds. Is there a motion on number 5?
Yes.
Need a
I
motion
move
for it,
upon the
Mr.
purchase of holding pens for Barn 3 at the Washington County Expo using hotel occupancy tax funds.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6.
I make a motion to purchase the scale set needed at the Washington County Expo using hotel occupancy tax funds.
I second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Wood. Item number 7, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of pending Washington County Expo rental regulations contracts. This morning we have 3 of those. 2 are Christmas parties, and 1 is Blinn College is using it from overflow. They need some pins down there for an overflow show they're having, so we have 3 of them.
I move upon the approval of pending Washington County Expo rental regulations contracts and authorize the county judge to sign.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, presentation of Washington County Extension Service Quarterly Impact Report. Ms. Matheny?
Well, good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I'm not really sure how we're already at another quarter, but we are, and spring was a busy one. As you all know, we come before you and present a retrospective view of the things that our department, our offices, each of our individual disciplines have accomplished in the previous 3 months. So we follow fiscal quarters that match A&Ms, and we also follow reporting quarters that match A&Ms as well. So the report that's presented to you is for March, April, and May. As we've done historically, I'll present the agriculture and natural resources. I may touch on a little bit of the 4-H youth development, and then we'll throw these other 2 who currently have a little less than 20 days on the job in to do the report. While they were not here to do the work, I do believe that they should have the opportunity to present before you the things that they're responsible for and will be responsible for moving forward. So agricultural and natural resources, one of the things that I think we failed to share with you all is that these are not just program ideas that come to my head. These are all driven by grassroots community committees. I think I'm the only county left in Texas that still has a functioning dairy committee. Even the counties up in North Texas don't actually have one. At one time, we were home to a significant number. As you all well know, we're down to 1 milking dairy at this point. But it's still something that's very important to that section of this community. And as such, they're willing to put forward the volunteer hours, the financial support, and the time commitment to host some dairy functions that are in support of the youth events. You'll see that event reported in June, so for the next quarter. But each one of these programs that we'll present to you today is driven by a set of volunteers. So our responsibility is to help facilitate things that are important to this community. And we're going to skip the very first one that's on the report for agriculture and natural resources, and we'll do that one there at the end. We have a very active Master Gardener volunteer group. If you've been by the expo lately, they've relocated some of their garden beds for educational purposes up towards the event center. And they will be helping Mr. Williams redo a small section of landscaping that's fairly barren at this point as a collaborative community service project with 4-H as well as Master Gardeners. But one of the things that they're passionate about is education. They're not here to weed. They're not here to plant grass. They're not here to trim trees. They're here to do education. So they spend a fair bit of time planning, hosting, and facilitating a lunch and learn. We've been blessed to have Beth as an attendee. She and her husband come quite regularly. The goal is to focus on topics that are of interest again to the community. So rainwater harvesting was one. For a hot minute there, we had an opportunity to harvest rainwater. And then the good Lord has now shut the faucet off, unfortunately. So hopefully some of what they harvested, they'll be able to capture and utilize. Mr. Al Prescott, who you guys have seen in court before, is also a Master Gardener and is the one that presented that presentation. So those folks that we have that are engaged with us on a day-to-day basis, they're actively involved in this community. They are a part of this community. They're volunteers in multiple facets. Another one you've all heard me report on more than once is the Multi-County New Landowners Program. This is meant to address topics that are of concern to absentee landowners and even transitional landowners who maybe are generationally removed from production agriculture. You've heard me say that phrase more than once. Ponds, weeds, and forage and livestock production. Ponds and weeds are the second two most popular things for absentee landowners outside of when, where, and what do I buy for an ATV or a tractor. That's usually the order that goes in. And by the way, and I don't want to pay taxes on it either, so we help them work through some of that as well. Pond management's always a popular one in the springtime, so we get lots of questions coming in our office. Jokingly, when we were all relocated into the commercial exhibits building, I'm pretty sure that everyone in there could have helped me answer all the pond questions because they all got to hear every time they came in. They got to hear my spiel. It's pretty similar from time to time. But we had an opportunity to educate 175 absentee or transitional landowners controlling approximately 10,000 acres if you do the math. So we're influencing decision-making processes with those folks. Stewardship, conservation, we talk about integrated pest management approaches, cultural approaches, as opposed to just being a point and spray approach sometimes. With each program, the value those respondents said they gleaned from each program was nearly $500. We charge $20 per program. So their return on investment is pretty significant. So as I mentioned, we'll flip to the next page here. Those of you that are on a tablet, Commissioner Hanneth, you'll scroll to the next page there, and we'll talk about the horticulture plant sale. So this was something that was in existence long before I got here. I'll honestly, to date it for you, Mr. Stanley is an original committee member, Stanley Summers, been on there 40-something years at this point. We were the first committee in Texas to debut the celebrity tomato that was bred by Texas A&M. So it was one of those tomatoes that it was a new release at the time. If you haven't eaten a celebrity tomato, you haven't been grocery shopping in the last 40 years. Because they are pretty much the predominant beefy style tomato. But the design behind this plant sale was originally to help landowners, garden enthusiasts. They were purchasing plants from a local box store that weren't thriving. They weren't doing well. They weren't suited for our area. So this contingency came together and tested a number of plants and then put together a list of things they wanted to offer. So again, that research-based scientific education with the good of helping improve the lives of Texans, specifically Washington County. But the added bonus to this is scholarship funding. So I firmly believe in giving back to this community to offset what I see as the expense of my presence, of our presence. So we are a partially funded, unmandated agency, and without the support of Commissioners Court, we couldn't be here. And I remind new agents of that all the time, not just in this county, but those in Texas. Show your worth, give back to the community, be an asset, not a burden. So one of the things this committee has gotten behind is that concept. And each year they award scholarships. When I got here, we were awarding $400. They're currently awarding $1,500 per student. And this year they awarded 3 scholarships. So looking at the trending data, you can see over the course of the years, the number of plants sold has increased. Anybody have any idea the change between 2020 and 2021? COVID, everybody thought they were going to grow their own vegetables. There was a little bit of a falter in 2022. Folks realized gardening wasn't as easy as they thought it was going to be. and they were very reliant on HEB for some things. But it continues to increase. I'll attribute a lot of that to the committee involvement, online sales, and just the way we're able to run the delivery and pickup, which is without the expo wouldn't work. Again, another one of those partnerships with the community that really makes it a drive-through process that's very simple, especially for those gardeners who maybe getting in and out of the vehicle isn't something that's the easiest, or they don't have the time to. Historical scholarship data, we've given 28 scholarships totaling in a value of almost $24,000 to youth in Washington County. This is one committee. And those numbers are only during my time. On average, Washington County AgriLife Extension, the ag committees that I oversee, will give anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 a year in scholarship dollars to our kids. And that's just specific to the ag committees. That doesn't include the 4-H scholarships that are given through the state 4-H office as well. So you'll see the highlight of the profiles on the back of each one of those, on the back for each one of those young people. They were invited to dinner. Commissioner Majewski's nephew was there, one of them. It's an opportunity for the kids to put a face with their name, their accomplishments, and the folks that are raising money for them. At the end of the day, we polled the committee. 2/3 of them are not from Washington County, but they believe in the value of giving back to the kids in Washington County. They're volunteering their time. They're committed to education, they're committed to youth, and they're committed to giving back and being a part of this community and supporting it. So definitely something that I'm proud of, they're proud of. So like I mentioned, that's the ag report. If you guys have any specific questions, I'll address those, and then we'll transition to Ms. Rudolph will present the Family and Community Health Report for the months of March, April, and May.
So I don't have anything but a comment. And what I will say is this, is I appreciate you collecting this data for us and presenting it in a way that's simple to see. The line graphs definitely show trajectory going up instead of down, and we can see that, and it's in simplicity, which is great, and I appreciate having that information. Our community needs to know that AgriLife and Extension as a whole is a valued asset to this community. So thank you for all that work.
Sure, absolutely. I can't take full credit for that. Stephanie, in her former capacity, is a wizard at these things. So she's set me up for success on stuff like that. So she's done a great job helping put that information together with us.
Multi-talented.
Multi-talented for sure.
With that said, hopefully in the future, Family Community Health will have those as well. So during this quarter, we actually had a vacant position in the Family and Community Health section. But with that said, the program kept going on and we kept excelling. So one of the things that we were blessed for is one of our committees and organizations that we work closely with is the Washington Extension Education Association. They come here every year to y'all accept a proclamation for TEEA week in the fall. But their organization helps with adult education, but they also are firm believers in the 4-H program and especially the youth in Washington County. So even though they're a smaller organization, they were able to give 2 scholarships to 2 graduating 4-H members, which was Miss Amy Kate Boyd and Mr. Dawson Rudloff. We were lucky enough that Michelle Daniels and Miss Ashwarn presented those awards to both of those recipients. And not only that, Miss Boyd actually moved on to the district level and she received a scholarship on the district level as well. So we're very proud of our graduating seniors. In order to qualify, they have to have an application, but they also must fill out a 4-H record book. So this doesn't only just look at their application, but it looks at their entire 4-H career. So they really support the 4-H program and understand the importance of that program. Also as well, we continued our school curriculum enrichment, and we were lucky to work with Citizen State Bank and host a financial management simulation with the Burton ISD group. That is an educational program where students get to choose their selected career, and they're given a monthly budget of about what their salary would be. From there, they have to go through and figure out rent, auto, clothing, food, and you'll see a bunch of girls start off wanting to buy designer clothes, and then by the end they'll go back and decide, maybe I need a roommate, we'll carpool, and clothing's not that important. But it's a great program that we sponsor with a lot of local community members to help host, that really just puts a real world management for a lot of our kids growing up.
Well, and that's something that's very
Very important.
necessary.
Very good.
Absolutely.
And we were very lucky, like I said, Citizen State Bank, Mr. Charles Seeley helped lead that program since we were without an agent. And so we were very blessed to have that partnership with that bank as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Ford.
I'm here to report on 4-H in this past quarter. Although my position was vacant, Ms. Kara and Ms. Stephanie worked very hard to keep the 4-H program thriving in Washington County. Washington County 4-H members exhibited nearly 80 projects at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Austin. In addition to the Livestock Exposition, Washington County 4-H had 32 members compete in Livestock Quiz Bowl, Livestock Judging, and Horse Judging. Outside of the show arena, 8 4-H members had the opportunity to visit their state capitol and learn more about legislative processes by attending 4-H Day at the Capitol. We also had 2 senior age members attending the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences 4-H Day on the campus of Texas A&M University. In April, 45 4-H members competed at our District 11 4-H Spring Spectacular. 12 4-H members qualified to advance to the Texas 4-H Roundup in June, and 20 judging team members competed at the District 11 4-H Horse Judging and Livestock Judging contests, advancing in our horse judging team to the state roundup. In May, nearly 50 4-H members attended the County Council meeting where the 2023-2024 4-H County Council officer elections were held. The new officer team will be attending leadership trainings, including Leadership Lab and Prestige Leadership Conference. Washington County Ag Day was held on May 17th for 4th graders. 401 students from Brenham, Burton, Citadel, and St. Paul's Christian Day School attended. There were 35 senior 4-H and FFA members, 9 adult volunteers, and 27 session speakers, for a total of 603.5 hours total and $19,191.30 donated in volunteer time for this event. I don't have much to report on because I haven't been here very long. Ms. Kara, is there anything you would like to add?
No, like I said, Pearl had the opportunity to get before you guys. I think it's important that you guys see her. I did have somebody ask, well, when does the new 4-H agent start? June 15th, right? I was like, no. She started June 1, but I think she's been in the office a grand total of about 6 hours. So you should have seen them come back Friday. They were gone to county camp for 3 days. And bless her heart, I have to tell this little story. Carly already knows about it. We were going around the room deciding who was riding in what vehicle. And one of the boys said, well, I'm riding shotgun in the truck. And I said, okay. And then they said, we're going to do boys in one and girls in the other. And I turned and looked at Pearl and I said, I am so sorry. You just drew the short end of the stick. Your vehicle fits 4. The boys are going with you. They're breaking her in well. She hasn't had much time to slow down or to even think twice about whether or not she made the right decision. So we're not going to give her that much time to do that either. They leave today for new agent training. They'll be gone for the rest of the week. But before they leave, we're going to go validate pigs. So again, they haven't had much time to slow down, and it's been great to have them join the team.
Very good.
Well, Ms. Pearl, we've said it before, but welcome.
Thank you.
And I know you and Stephanie haven't had a lot of time to get your feet wet yet, but sounds like you are actually having to run a lot. So good luck with all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Miss. How's everybody doing?
Morning, Miss Mary. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good for you.
Judge, commissioners, I think that old adage that says the older you get, the quicker time pass by. Have y'all heard that? I feel like I just was here.
Yeah.
Because these quarterly impacts are becoming to be more and more frequent, even though they're quarterly. Anyway, when I first started here, I was told that being born and raised in the county that you work in can be either a blessing or a curse. I think it to be a blessing. Whenever I see people in Walmart or H-E-B or anywhere and they say, well, Mary, can you come do a program for us? I think that's a blessing. When I get a text, which is very personal, they know that they got my number in the community because I don't mind giving it out. So I've gotten phone calls, I've gotten texts, and I just see running into people in Walmart. So when you see me in Walmart, H-E-B, I'm programming. Believe it or not, I am programming. I have my flyers with me. Sometimes they'll turn away from me. Like, here she come again with a program. But anyway, glad to be here, glad to be in the community. again, I think the last time I was here, I talked about the Brenham Pregnancy Center. I am on board with them. I have a schedule for the rest of the year. I've been doing it for the past couple of months now, but they actually sent me a schedule saying, we want you to come once a month and do 2 programs, one in the morning and one in the evening. So I'm blessed to be able to do that. I have teamed up with a diabetes specialist in the community. There's a program held at the Brenham Library once a month. It's called Day by Day with Diabetes, and we have quite a few people coming on a monthly basis to that, because I read a statistic somewhere where it said by 2050 everybody's going to be possibly pre-diabetic. I know that sounds bad, but it's the way the food industry is going, and these $5 meals, and people are not growing food the way they're supposed to grow food and eat the fruits and vegetables. There's no telling what's going to happen by 2015. So we are there to try to help that crowd of people come understand diabetes on a better level. The last one that I did in May, it was a lunch and learn. It was with the EEA ladies. They actually called me in to ask to do a program. That's one of those blessings that I call a spur of the moment. I don't know if it was spur of the moment because they couldn't find anybody else, and just let's call Mary because we know she's an extension. But anyway, they called me. We did a program. I enjoyed it. I called Michelle Wright. Is her name right? Michelle. And I said, how did y'all enjoy the program? Look, like we thoroughly enjoyed it. We want to have you back again. So that was my March, April, and May. Does anybody have any questions? It's short and sweet, but you all know what I do on a daily, monthly, quarterly basis.
Maybe short and sweet, but you're a busy lady, I'm gonna tell you.
You know what? I don't pat my boss, my immediate boss. I don't pat myself enough on the back, but that's not who I am. I just do what I do because I love what I do, and I don't want those accolades and the such. Anybody have any questions?
I thank you a lot. I think that while it does seem short for you, it's good for our community to know what you guys do, because what you just talked about in terms of diabetes and things like that, it's good to educate our populace on what's really going on with their health and everything that Extension provides to this community. It's good for us to all hear that.
Okay.
So thank you for what you do.
You do a great job. I see how you work there. You do it real great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, it's short and sweet because I have a doctor's appointment right after this. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Item number 9, discuss and possibly act upon reappointment of members of the Brazos Valley Council of Government Criminal Justice Advisory Committee. List of names to be available at the County Judge's Office. Those appointments are as follows. These are reappointments. The first 4. John Chancellor is Police Chief at Glenn College. Donna Damon, Adult Probation Director. Reverend Randy Wells, Minister, Wells of Wisdom. And Mark Whidden, Lieutenant, Washington County S.O. The new appointment is Dr. Edna Kennedy, the Burton Superintendent. Mr. Clay Gillentine was the Education Director at Brenham ISD prior to this. We're rotating out to include Burton in this go-around. So Dr. Kennedy has consented to serve.
I make a motion to approve the reappointment of members to the Brazos Valley Council of Governments Criminal Justice Advisory Committee from the list that was presently presented in court.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of health insurance contribution amounts for the October 1st, 2023 renewal. Ms. Milchak?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
I sent you all a bit of information to consider in the rates, and I know we had a little bit of, I wouldn't call it a discrepancy, maybe a different perspective after looking at the historical rates and the way they fluctuate, considering do we continue with the county contribution as a percentage, or do we continue with the employee rates as they have been for the previous 10+ years? So if you look at the historical rates, you know, the last 3 years we've had increases, but before that, the previous 3 years had decreases. So in the end, it evens out. I think the difference was just over 1% over the, was it 8-year span that I gave you to consider. So I am suggesting that for the next year, we stay with the current rates that the employees have had for the previous history. And I do think that we need to consider the possibility of adjusting this, but I think that that needs to be very careful consideration during budget.
Correct. Okay.
I would agree with that as well. Ms. Melchick and I had a conversation about that. I think that changing this at this point in time would require us to go to budget. The unfortunate thing is that this renewal comes a month before our budget almost every single year. So I think this year we just need to be adamant about looking into it and researching all our options.
Yes.
For the next year. So I make a motion to approve the health insurance contribution amounts for October 1st, 2023, as presented by the HR Director.
I'll second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 11, discuss and possibly act on the approval of 2023 Chapel Hill 4th of July Parade Permit application. I've read through this. It's everything you do is basically change the year. These people have put this on many, many years and done a good job, and I don't have any problem with what they have here. Mr. Remke, do you have any comments?
No, sir. They've done it, like it says, since 1976 or even before that. I've never known of any issues with it, so.
I'll move upon the approval of the 2023 Chapel Hill 4th of July Parade Permit application.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 12, discuss and act upon a final plat of the Legacy Hill subdivision consisting of 4 tracks fronting State Highway 36 and All Jersey Road in the A-0125 Caserio Carmel Survey, Precinct 2.
That's a tough one.
You want to just repeat that for me?
I think you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Mr. Stokes.
It's good to be back.
Glad to have you back.
So we're going to start off with a final plat for Legacy Hill. It's a 4-lot subdivision fronting 36 and All Jersey Road. The minimum acreage for the 4 lots that are being presented is 5.99. The maximum is 8.76 with an average of 6.77 acres. No roads are being proposed with this particular development. It's a pretty small and minor subdivision in all aspects compared to what we're used to. The only thing I will say with this one is I'd like to recommend a conditional approval. We did have the OSSF that needs to be finalized. That's the on-site septic facility report that would have to be finalized prior to this. So what I would recommend is that we hold recordation until that actually gets finalized to the environmental department. All other aspects have been addressed.
So if we're going to do that, are we going to set a time frame for that to happen? Because the county clerk's office is going to want to know when that needs to be filed. So if we're gonna set a delay, I think we need to set a time frame that
Sure.
they get that work done and have that to the county clerk's office.
I would say no longer than a month would be,
Okay.
yeah.
So with it being the 20th today, no later than July 20th,
I think that's
are you
very
saying
fair.
a month as a calendar month or
A calendar month.
Okay. So if we make a motion, we'll include that in our motion that the delay will be for 1 month and 1 month only.
Sounds great.
Okay.
So
I mean-
just to clarify,
Yeah,
so
let you do
it will not be signed or processed until the
Correct.
proper paperwork is done? So
Yes,
it will
that's
not be
correct.
submitted to you all, therefore not submitted to the county clerk's office?
Exactly. So
correct.
what will end up happening is this will be the approval, conditional upon that. Once that information has been approved and accepted, then we bring it actually forward to each one of the commissioners and the judge. They sign off and we'll bring it straight to you.
Awesome, great.
All right. So I make a motion to approve the final plat of Legacy Hill on the condition of 1 month after the environmental survey has been done, a subdivision consisting of 4 tracks fronting SH 36 and All Jersey Road in the A0125 Censario, is that what it's?
That's close enough.
Pomona Survey, Precinct 2.
I'll second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13, discuss and act upon a formal notice from Magnolia Oil and Gas Operating LLC for a 12-inch lay-flat water transfer line for a duration of 4 months within the county right-of-way on Upshaw Road, North Hoppestrasser Road, and Cather Road, Precinct 4.
Yes, this is in relation to the oil and gas permit that was issued a few weeks ago over off of Hartstack Road. They have a reservoir that's located off of Upshaw. This would actually be providing the water source necessary to get to Hartstack. Once again, nobody likes the temporary water lines in the ditch, but nobody specifically really likes to have those water trucks driving on these roads either. So it's definitely the better option between the two. And we've looked through the route, and even though it's a little bit kind of a janky route, it is the most efficient based on the culverts that they can actually cross through and get to that location. So I do want to give you guys a heads up that that's going to be coming through.
We need to act upon that, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Discussion.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the notice from Magnolia Oil and Gas Operating LLC for a 12-inch lay flat water transfer line for a duration of 4 months within the county right-of-way on Upshur Road, North Hopshaws Road, and Cather Road in Precinct 4.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 14, discuss and act upon the final plat for Spring Creek Estates, Section 3, 23 residential tracts with a road extension of Crestview Lane of .438 tenths of a mile located in the A-0112 Sanford Woodward Survey, Precinct 2.
Yes, so this is the final extension for Spring Creek Estates, which would be Section 3, 0.44 miles is the extension on this. We've gone through the design, and there will be one detention pond that will be included with this for drainage mitigation for downstream landowners. The minimum lot size for the extension on these 23 lots is 1.5 acres. The average is 1.71 with a maximum of 2.63. They do meet all requirements of our current subdivision standards and Texas statutes, and we do recommend it.
So I just have a question.
Yes,
On it looks like on track 16 is where that retention pond is that correct?
That's the larger one. I believe it's 2.3 if I'm not mistaken. It's the one on the.
It's 4.5 acres. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I believe so. Okay, maybe
it's
that's
track 16.
Track is
4.5.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So that's still going to be a lot.
Yes.
Because
so there's
top
a drainage.
Of that lot,
yes.
a portion of that will also be for building a home.
Exactly.
Correct. Okay.
Exactly.
And the retention pond is basically a dirt like a dug pond, or
Yes.
is that an existing pond that's there?
It's an existing pond that they're actually going to be modifying the drainage system to actually have that capacity for detention. So the existing pond will be utilized, but the discharge will be modified for the detention aspects.
That's what I want to hear. All right.
Okay, other question. There is a, I call it escape route, nothing else. There's only one, and that's at real close to the road up here. There's not another one further down here?
No, so that's actually an item that we went back and forth about for quite a long period of time. That's something that we were looking at trying to require. Unfortunately, the regulations that we have on the books, as well as the Texas statutes, do not allow us to require this.
Yeah.
So we got to a certain point where we have to follow the law, and that is the law. We highly encouraged it, because even though it's the minimum, that is not always the recommended option. So we highly encouraged it, but they are meeting the minimum requirements by state law and our regulations, and so we have to move
Curiosity.
forward.
That's a long.
It is a long section. The length is not as big of a reason why I would recommend a secondary access as the amount of lots on that particular subdivision. Yes, sir. It's that would be the main reason why I would always recommend having a second one over 30, and especially over 50 to have a permanent secondary route. But once again, we follow the law.
Right. Okay.
I make a motion to approve the final plat for Spring Creek Estates, Section 3, 23 residential lots with a road extension of Crestview Lane of .438 tenths of a mile located in the A0112 Sanford Woodward Survey, Precinct 2.
I second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item number 15, discuss a preliminary plat of Gates Crossing subdivision, a gated 1,261 acre residential development of 40 lots with 5 roads located in the A-0046 William Gates Survey Precinct 1.
Yeah, so this is a substantial development, not from lot size, lot count, but from area. The actual parent tract acreage overall is approximately 1,800 acres. There's approximately a 600-acre reserve that is all within the Brazos River floodplain that will not be developed. However, it will be utilized as part of the HOA's uses, whether it be recreation or agricultural. The lots that are being created with this particular plat, there are 40 of which the minimum is actually 14.016 acres, which is a pretty substantial size. The average is 34.18, and the maximum lot size that's being created, excluding the reserve, is 160 acres, so pretty substantial. The largest acreage actually does have quite a bit of floodplain in those, so just kind of keep that in mind. There's a cemetery that's included with this, and that is existing, that's being blocked out, and there's approximately 3.7 miles that would be included with this particular subdivision. It does have its primary entrance off of Egypt Lane with a secondary emergency access over off of Brown College. We've looked at this from the drainage perspective, and the vast majority of which discharges to the Brazos River. There's actually, whenever you're looking at 160 acres, 15 acres, 20 acres, even if you put 20,000 square foot of impervious cover, it's actually a pretty negligible amount of additional flow downstream, especially with rerouting the flow to include a higher time concentration. One area that we will be looking at in terms of design is the actual small amount of discharge proportionate to the rest of the subdivision that will be crossing Egypt Lane, as we do have an existing culvert there, and it will be crossing into private property across the road. Beyond that, there's no other detention facilities beyond that existing that we are looking at. Everything else with this one, beyond the fact that this would be a proposed private subdivision at this point, looks good, and we're ready to go into design.
So are the roads going to be considered private as well?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So lot 31, it's a flag lot. It looks like it dead ends into the river. Was that by design? Is that what they?
I believe that that's just the existing, the
design?
parent tract. I believe that's just the remnants of that one, if I'm not mistaken, but let me take a look.
Looks like it's drawn a hard line that looks like a flag lot.
Yes, that's the parent tract. It has that little extension that goes all the way to the Brazos River. They just have it as a tract. It's not really a flag lot to the Brazos. It just, that was what was part of the original one, and they said, let's go ahead and throw this in as part of lot 31.
So that pole is not considered part of that 22 acres?
No, it 100% is part of it. It's just not necessarily a flag lot in the primary definition. A flag lot would actually be going to an existing right-of-way. This is just a long, skinny piece that goes to the Brazos River just by happenstance.
Interesting.
Okay.
And this one, once again, there's only the Brown College one that goes out to a road. That they didn't create like a loop road or anything that allows dual access, which is kind of interesting.
Correct. They have the primary entrance with a boulevard aspect onto Egypt with the emergency access with a gated Knox box going to Brown College.
Because it looks like there was the ability to do that, doesn't it?
So that is the only
where they could
area.
have punched to Brown College with a road.
So that is the only area that they can make a secondary access point. Further south, they get close to Brown College,
Okay.
but they don't actually have contiguity. They
See,
would
they
have to
don't-
purchase
they don't own
additional
that.
property.
They'd have to
Now, they
cross.
could shift that, 1,000 foot north or south, but they decided to split those particular lots just for
Because
use.
they're getting into other private land and try to get.
Yes, they would have to
See
purchase.
further south, yeah, this is all.
From this way.
Yeah, you could do it there, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. All right.
In Egypt Lane and Brown, are those both paved roads?
So Brown College is, Egypt is not.
That's what I
So
thought.
something that we are going to be working through a design that I've been pushing out to the developer is the recommendation that we have an agreement that I would bring before the court that they would actually pave a portion of this roadway, mainly from the aspect of if you're going to be buying a 15, 20, 30 acre, even if it was 1.5, to be honest with you, and you're going to have nice paved roads inside your subdivision, there's going to be a
That's
complaint
right.
there, and it's
There's
going
gonna
to
be
be hard to
some
sell those
calls
lots.
Well, there's gonna be
That's right.
expectation that that road will be paved. That's the expectation.
That's going to be the expectation in the long run. So we'd
But
like
they-
to address that earlier on.
Let them
We don't
pave it
have
now.
the ability to require that of them at this point in time. We don't have the ability to require that, but we are saying, look, this is good for you, it's good for us, let's work out an agreement that we actually get this taken care of. Along with this, though, you will notice that 15-foot has been dedicated, well, will be dedicated with the final plat along Egypt Lane through this for future expansion, because obviously you do need a greater width of right-of-way to have proper maintenance on a paved road. And that has been communicated, and they are proposing this.
Very good.
So they've been working with us on this. But we have not finalized the agreement for paving. That has not been finalized yet. It's only been discussed preliminarily.
Okay. Is there any more discussion of item number 15? Okay. Item number 16, discuss and act upon the placement of reserve of Chapel Hill subdivision into the one-year maintenance period with the following roads and mileage. Clearwoods Court North, .073, Clearwoods Court South, .082, Chapel Hill Reserve Drive, .494, Wooded Reserve Court, .246, Creekside Reserve Court, .122, Timberside Court, .148, authorizing reduction of security bond, precinct 1.
Yes, so we've been working with them over the past month or so just to finalize our punch list items, the last of which was to install some guardrail out there along the drainage crossing, as well as some minor erosion issues that happened from the large water rainfall that we received a couple months ago. They have resolved those, and we do deem this subdivision substantially complete and acceptable to be moved into the one-year maintenance period, in which it would be maintained privately through them up until that 1 year, in which case we would bring it forward to the Commissioner's Court if everything is acceptable at that time for maintenance from the county.
I move upon the placement of reserve of Chapel Hill subdivision into the one-year maintenance period with the following roads and mileage. Clearwoods Court North, .73, Clearwoods Court South, .82, Chapel Hill Reserve Drive, .494, Wooded Reserve Court, .246, Creekside Reserve Court, 1.22, Timberside Court, .148, authorizing reduction of security bond, precinct 1.
And those mileages are .073 and .082.
Correct.
I second that with those corrections.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item number 17, discuss and act upon the placement of Timber Bridge subdivision into the one-year maintenance period with the following roads and mileage. Timber Bridge Lane, .516, Timber Cove Lane, .09, authorizing reduction of security bond, precinct 2.
Yes, this is another one where we are, they have finalized their construction. The only thing they had left on their punch list was, once again, some erosion from those large rainfall events a couple months ago. Obviously, without having vegetation established at those times, it caused some erosion where they had to go back and reshape those. They have completed those aspects, and everything else has been deemed substantially complete. We do recommend this be entered into the one-year maintenance period, and we will be readdressing it in 1 year.
I make a motion to place Timber Bridge subdivision into the one-year maintenance period with the following roads and mileage. Timber Bridge Lane, .516, Timber Cove Lane, .09, authorizing reduction of the security bond in precinct 2.
I second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Stokes. Number 18, discuss and possibly act upon the acceptance of a donation in the amount of $8,058.74 to purchase body armor for the Washington County Precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4 Constable's Office.
Hello, Judge, Commissioners. We're just asking that y'all accept the donation again. We have managed, with Commissioner Mieski's help to secure a donor. They want to remain anonymous, but they're willing to purchase the body armor. As it stands right now, probably we're looking at $8,058.74 is what we're thinking. Not sure what the donation actually come in, but we'd just like your permission to accept the donations.
So you don't know what the donation is, but you know this amount is what you need for the armor?
This is what we need. We know that it is that amount, if not.
Okay.
The donations.
The donation will cover this at least.
The donations will cover
cover
this.
that. And
All right.
So,
Nice.
but if we do get more than this amount, we will need to bring it back to court to approve the rest of that donation, because we gotta approve donations.
Correct. Okay.
Just so we
Yeah,
understand.
right. We know that, yeah, we know the minimum is
thank this person
covered.
greatly for this donation, because without them, we probably wouldn't have this armor.
well,
so.
it's a group of 3 people, and I could just say we're grateful as a community that the people
Yeah.
that we have, and
Unbelievable.
they're longtime supporters of the community, all 3 of them. So
That's awesome.
they didn't want to names mentioned, but definitely want to thank them.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
good point Commissioner has here, though, that if it is an excess amount, well, just try to figure out how to get that amount. Or if you
Right.
do get more, it's okay too, but we need to come back with that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to come.
The vessel, it'll be covered.
Okay, all right. I make a motion to accept the donation in the amount of $8,058.74 to purchase body armor for the Washington County Precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4 constables' offices.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, William. Item number 19, discuss, consider, and select engineering services providers to complete the Washington County Jail Kitchen Project implementation for the American Rescue Plan Act funding administered by the U.S. Department of the Treasury, other federal or state agency. Chief Hensley?
Morning, Judge. Morning, Commissioners. When was that? 2 weeks ago, we
Friday.
received, Friday, we received all the bids in. There were multiple vendors that,
4 of them.
4 of them that submitted recommendations and everything. The selection committee went through. Due to the complexity of this, we didn't want to leave any stone unturned. So 2 of the 4 graded the same. So we vetted the vendors, called their references, and it's mine and Commissioner Bullock, who's not here today. We would like to recommend that CGL be granted this opportunity to provide the engineering services. Their vendors checked out well. There was one company whose vendors weren't happy with the work that was done, so.
Okay. You're recommending CGL to
Yes, sir.
do this work?
Yes, sir.
All right.
As you know, Commissioners, there was a scoring element to the RFQ. The scoring element was used in order to score each one of these architectural firms. That scoring element came through, and as Chief Captain Hensley, is it Chief or
Chief.
Captain? Chief Hensley said, there were 2 that were very close in nature in terms of their scoring. So we wanted to make sure that we got the right person, and we contacted those folks that they've done some work for, and we based it upon that. So CGL was the one that came to the top of that, and that's what the committee recommended. So I want to thank Captain Hensley, or Chief Hensley, for his work and Commissioner Bullock's work on that RFQ. So
Okay.
we'll just need a motion.
Is there a
correct?
motion?
Yes.
I make a motion to select CGL for the engineering services to complete the Washington County Jail Kitchen Project implementation for from the American Rescue Plan Act funding administered by the U.S. Department of the Treasury, other federal and state agencies.
I second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item number 20, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of accounts payable.
There were a lot of bills, just not anything
Nothing outstanding.
Too exciting in there.
No.
I'll move upon the approval of accounts payable.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 21.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned. So, future reference.